Between winners and subscribers of this channel, there's a correlation. Tune in, I'll teach you about photophosphorylation.
Is a really funny biology joke. Cyclic phosphorylation is like your dad. It goes in circles, doesn't commit, and never gives you ATP when you need it.
First, we're going to look at non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Now this has 4 stages and uses both photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. It provides the ATP and reduced NADP for the light independent reaction, which we're going to look at in the next video. Firstly, light energy excites electrons. So chlorophyll A and B in photosystem 2 absorb light energy, which in turn excites electrons. If we look at the diagram, an electron is excited when it moves up an energy level in the atom, so it moves up an electron shell. These excited or higher energy electrons move along the electron transport chain to PS1. So let's look at this on a diagram. As you can see, the light is absorbed at PS2, it excites an electron, and then the electron moves along the electron transport chain. Another thing to be aware about is if too much light energy is absorbed, well, the excess light is released as fluorescent light, and this whole thing is known as chlorophyll fluorescence. The next stage is called photolysis, and this is all about replacing the electron that has been excited in stage 1. So photolysis is where light energy splits water into its H+ ions and electrons and oxygen. Here is the reaction. And if we look at this diagram, we can see how an electron is replaced by photolysis. The third stage is all about making ATP. So the excited electrons lose energy as they move along the electron transport chain. This energy is then used to transport protons into the thylakoid via membranes called proton pumps. This creates a proton gradient where there's a higher concentration of protons in the thylakoid than the stroma. The result of this is the protons move down their concentration gradient into the stroma via ATP synthase, and this energy of the movement combines with ADP and our inorganic phosphate to form ATP. So if we look in the diagram, we can see that protons move into the thylakoids via proton pumps, creating a proton gradient, and then they move back down their concentration gradient into the stroma via an enzyme called ATP synthase, and the energy from this movement combines with ADP and our inorganic phosphate to form ATP. Finally, reduced NADP is generated, and this occurs when light energy is absorbed by PS1, which excites the electrons again to an even higher energy level. Finally, the electrons are transferred to NADP along with a proton from the stroma to form reduced NADP. And let's look at the diagram once more. So we can see light is incident on the chlorophyll of PS1. It excites the electron again, combining with a proton from the stroma to form reduced NADP. Now we're looking at cyclic photophosphorylation. Now this is rarer and only produces ATP. It only uses PS1 and it's called cyclic because the electrons from the chlorophyll molecule aren't passed onto NADP but are passed back to PS1 via electron carriers. This means the electrons are recycled and can repeatedly flow through PS1. It doesn't produce any NADP or O2. And we can see that in the diagram.
Here's a boring joke. Why do thylakoid membranes make great friends? Because they always light up your life and pass the energy around.
Honey